Welcome back to SportsLine right here on NewsChannel 5+. I'm Jon Burton. She, of course, is the legendary Mickie James, one of the greatest professional wrestlers, male or female, ever, and I mean that sincerely. I am what's called in the business a mark. I've always been a huge fan of yours, and
thank you. I'm a mark too, though.
But we're all fans, right?
We're all. If you stop being a fan,
right?
And this transcends across any business. If you stop being a fan of the business that you are in the wrong business. You need to get out and find the thing that you're a fan of, because you stop doing it because you love it.
No question.
Yeah.
We mentioned earlier that you know, you've been back at Impact Wrestling. It's been so great. I know the fans are so happy to see you back at Impact Wrestling, and what it was like to come back to you there for you, because you had such a great run there. You know, I always say this. I said this a couple weeks ago when Deonna Purrazzo was on, and we'll talk about her in a minute. I've always said that, you know, I'm a little biased. You know, I host BTI, the pre-show. Do you watch BTI, by the way, Mickie?
I need to. I need to watch it.
Well, yeah, but you got to watch Josh Matthews. But you get me and Gia Miller, though.
Okay. Okay. I mean, if you can just limit his talking, that would be great.
Love you, Josh. I know he's watching.
Nothing but love.
Yeah. But I've always felt like, you know, the Impact Women's Division, the Knockouts Division, you look a lot across the landscape of professional wrestling, at least in this country or here in North America, best women's roster in all professional wrestling. You know, the ability to have great matches, tell great stories in the ring, cut great promos, be larger-than-life personalities. You know, I don't think anybody does it better than Impact.
No, absolutely. I always say, you say that, and I'm like, I always say that Impact was doing women's wrestling right before it became a thing. Before the whole give the divas a chance, before there was a true light shown on how disproportionately the women were viewed and booked in comparison to the men. And the women, and that was one of the biggest catalysts, aside from Dixie calling me and Kurt Angle called me to go to Impact the first go around, and he called me because I was in a really weird space, and I was like, I don't even want to talk about wrestling right now. Yeah. And he's like, you know, Mickie, you're so good at it, and just because other people don't realize that, like, he's like, you have a whole chance to do whatever you want now. And I really did. I was able to come up with the hardcore country character, which was very much in line with who I really am.
Yeah, just so with the volume turned up a little bit.
All the way up to 11.
Yeah, because when you were at WWE, you played a different kind of character.
It was a very different character, and it was an amazing character. Yeah. I loved it, but it was a very girl next door, young, naive, kind of just happy to be here.
Right.
Psychotic at one point. That was single white female girl crush. But that morphed into the girl next door. Everybody knew someone, like, you know what I mean? That was very, and then I was able to go to Impact and really just be who I was, more authentic to me, you know? I was able to sing my own entrance music, which I was never allowed, like, and do my own entrance song and come up with the hardcore country. But then these different moments that happened, and then I also main evented the show. I also whereas in hardcore matches and other types of Falls Count Anywhere matches.
You jumped off the top of a steel cage, Mickie.
Off the 18-foot
What the heck were you thinking? I loved it.
It's the main event, baby. It's the main event. There's a cage here. Mickie, I'm jumping off of it.
I will never forget that. I was like, what is she doing? And then when you did it, I was like, what did she just do?
I did do that.
Yeah.
I did do that. And I will say.
But they would probably at WWE, they probably weren't going to let you do that.
I don't think I would have been in a cage at WWE.
Right, exactly. A, be in a cage. B, climb to the top. C, jump off of it.
Like, none of those things would have transpired at that point, where women's wrestling was right there. And so, and that goes to, a lot of people don't realize this, but Tara, Lisa Marie.
Yes.
Pretty much.
I'm a huge fan of hers. She's amazing.
One of the greatest women I've ever been in the ring with. But she, if you go back and watch that match, tore her elbow. Like, she hyperextended to where it went the other way. So her whole arm was out for half that match. Like, it was completely, she couldn't even bend it. Gosh, she's just a warrior. But it's just like, there's so many moments, but that would have never, and I was able to do that and reinvent myself and stay relevant, which is not something that happens a lot for a lot of people, male or female, in wrestling. Like, once you leave that top company or whatever you perceive that, and then that's your run. And I was able to go away and reinvent myself, reestablish myself in this whole new place, in this whole new space. It wasn't that new because a lot of people don't remember that I was there at Impact Wrestling or at TNA when it first started, and way back at the Nashville Fairgrounds.
I was going to say, that was back in the Fairgrounds days with Jeff running the show, right?
Yeah, with Jeff and Jerry Jarrett just running the show, and that was a little Alexis Lurie back then, and then to be able to come back after so much success. Because even when I left, I had a conversation with Jeff, and when Jeff was like, you know, Mickie, I get it. Because I came to him and I was like, I just want you to know that I'm so grateful for my time here, but the end goal was to be women's champion, and I had a chance to be able to try to go for it, and I took it, and he's like, Mickie, I get it, and just know that this door is always open for you. And so he meant it, and it was open for me, and I came back, and I did so much more in my career than I'd ever thought I was going to do there, to the point where I stayed relevant enough to be able to go back for a second run and do some really cool stuff, and then now to come back home, and now this literally is home because it's in my backyard.
That's amazing.
And it's here, and I just love this city so much, and I've been trying to get to this city for a long time, and everything just is kind of, you know,
it's all coming together.
It's all falling into place.
Now what about this Impact Knockouts roster? Anybody that and again, we'll talk about Deonna in a second, but putting her aside for just a second, who stands out on this women's roster at Impact
Wrestling? I would say,
and we should mention that tapings are coming up very soon. So
Skyway Studios.
Yes, you should definitely go check those out. You might see me, you might see her.
You might see me because I have some business to take care of. Sizness to take care of.
Sizness, okay. All right.
I would say Jordan Grace.
Yeah, amazing.
Amazing.
Great athlete, strong.
She's so strong. She just won that powerlifting.
No.
Ridiculous. Like, she could lift 4 of me.
Yeah.
Maybe 3, depending on if I've had cake.
I would not want to, like, try to lift weights against her. She would crush me.
No, I'm over here doing my yoga and my little, you know.
Arms look great, by the way.
Thank you. I do lift weights, but not like that. Not like that. She's Tasha Steelz, especially since she's separated from Kiera Hogan. Like, I think that you're going to see a lot of cool stuff out of her. She's going to really just kind of come out the pocket, because when you were in a tag team for so long, and then when you're able to kind of start to, then now she has to define herself as her. As like to really, so I think she's gonna really start.
And there's really not much of a difference between Tasha Steelz, the wrestling character, and Tasha Steelz. I mean, it's
pretty in line. It's pretty in line. The thing is their roster is so strong, and it always has been.
Taylor Wilde has returned.
I love to see her back.
Rosemary has long been a fan favorite in Impact Wrestling.
Yes, I love those characters like that are so different and so unique. I think everybody tries to be pretty and tries to be glamorous and look like with the face paint and even Susan. Susie. She's just, it's so cool, and they have a really, really strong female roster. They really do. But again, I say that they've always had a strong female roster. And they've always been doing women's wrestling right before it was cool to do women's wrestling right. So
I remember when Awesome Kong and Gail, were the main event. That feud was one of the greatest feuds, male or female, that I've ever seen. I've been a wrestling fan for 40 years, okay? I watched a lot of wrestling, maybe too much. But that particular feud that they had was incredible.
I think that feud
itself, Gail is underrated.
It's completely underrated. She's underrated.
We're talking about Gail Kim, by the way. Kim. Yeah, one of the all-time greats.
Yes, legend. That feud, I think, in itself really inspired a lot of women, women in the industry and girls coming up or wanting to be in the industry, because Kong broke the mold of what a female wrestler should look like and what she should be. She was different than everybody else, but those two women went to war. They went to war out there every single night. And that's when I say, like, Impact was doing women's wrestling right before it was a thing, before Give Divas a Chance, before all this, because the women were getting double segments on the show. They were getting the time. They were getting the main event spots. And it was because of stories like Gail Kim and Awesome Kong, that's why I was so grateful to have that moment on Empower where Kong, announced that she was retiring. But it was the first time
she will be missed.
Will be missed. I hope that in a perfect world, She doesn't have to lace them up, but I hope that there is a world where we can see Awesome Kong in front of a camera talking about wrestling, doing something with wrestling, because she's got an incredible mind for the business, and she really was a catalyst in a lot of this young crop of talent getting the courage to say, okay, I don't have to be a diva.
Right.
I don't have to be this. I can just be myself, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
And she killed it. God, she's amazing.
You know who else is amazing? Mickie James. She's here in studio. When we come back, we're going to talk about how it all started for her. How did she get into professional wrestling? And we still have this Deonna Purrazzo thing we need to talk about. So you ready for that?
I am ready for that.
All right, stay with us. More with the legend, Mickie James, right here on SportsLine.